Good evening. Now, I've been reading fact checkers online, and you know what they said back in October 2022? They said, no. Pfizer never claimed that the vaccine would stop transmission. You stupid people. This is not a scandal. Pfizer never said it. Yeah? And if you remember this, October 2022, people online were so angry because this Pfizer executive in this EU hearing said, no, we never tested it on transmission. And she was laughing about it, right? And people got pissed off, of course. So that's why they did the fact-checking. And they said, the fact-checkers said, no, you stupid people, this is not a scandal. Pfizer never claimed that it would stop transmission. Right? I'm doing this one. I just finished it. It's about the transmission, ink on paper. And I was really surprised about one thing. I was surprised to see that media, they actually reported on this early 2021, including state-funded media. They talked about this. They said in January 2021, you can transmit to others even though you are vaccinated against COVID-19. So they knew it. They talked about it. And there were other newspapers who talked about this. And they said, oh yeah, you could get the COVID thing even though you are vaccinated, absolutely. And you can transmit to others even though you are vaccinated. They talked about it. I was very surprised to see this. So who didn't talk about it? Well, it was the politicians, right? And they said, no, it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. They are dangerous. They are the bad ones. They need to be restricted. You see? And the vaccinated, they are good. They can move around. They can do what they want, right? And the politicians, of course, knew that the vaccinated would transmit too. But they just ignored it. Isn't that special? Now, we had this health minister here in Sweden at the time, and she would just move along with the narrative, right? She just ignored this stuff. Around the same time, actually, when media was reporting on it, state-funded media included, that transmission would not be stopped if you get vaccinated. She would just talk about this thing as if nothing happened. Now, this was not in her mind at all. She said, for example, this. The unvaccinated should only be celebrating Christmas with their closest. That's what she said. She said, unvaccinated can be transferred. You know, stuff like this. She was talking like this. When she knew that the vaccinated would transmit as well. That's a bit later, they introduced the COVID passport, the vaccine passport, stopping the unvaccinated from going to concerts. They stopped them from traveling, see? Sport events. That's what they did. Wow. So yeah, I was surprised about this thing. And I also thought it was sort of hilarious to read the fact checkers saying, no, Pfizer, they never claimed it. I think I remember they said it, Burla. I will look into this. I think Burla said it, right? The Pfizer CEO. maybe you know. Yeah, this will stop transmission. This will stop the pandemic, right? Something. So, yeah, it's pretty outrageous, I think, to look into these things. Of course, I remember most of it, but now I'm reminded of what happened, and I read these things again. Well, it's terrible, isn't it? It's the worst, what they did. And for me, it looks like it's the politicians who did it. Even media knew and reported on it, right? But the politicians, they just ignored it. They still do. Up until today, they still ignore this thing. No, what we did was perfect. Oh. Right, so I'll post a link to this one. You can check it out. The fact checkers are quoted in English, but the rest is in Swedish. Right, so there's a link below the video. You can check this out. Right, be good.